Joy, well, we thought we would take a look here. First of all, the question that was asked going into the Democratic convention last week that's now being asked going into this Republican convention is, would there be a polling bounce like we'd seen with some conventions in the past? The evidence we're getting, at least early on here for this Democratic convention last week, is not much of a bounce, probably not any bounce for Joe Biden. He did go into it, though, with a fairly significant lead, and he comes out of it, therefore, with a fairly significant lead. And that's what we want to put in context here. The lead that Joe Biden has over Donald Trump right now in the polling, we want to compare that to the lead that Hillary Clinton had in 2016 throughout the campaign. Does this race look like it's setting up to be 2016 all over again? Or does it look different? That's the question we want to ask here and take you through with some of the numbers. So what we're going to show you here, the average of all of the polls at various points here. This is for the summer of 2016, basically June 1st of 2016 until this point, and for 2020, from June 1st of this year to right now. Let's compare the polls here, the poll averages here. So in 2016, the average lead basically in the summer, basically in this time, the average lead there was Hillary Clinton by 4.3 points. So now, 4 years later, what has the average lead been for Joe Biden in the summer of 2020? It's been almost double. Clinton led on average by just over 4. Biden this summer has led the polls by just over 8 points. And in fact, if you look at it right now, if you took the post-convention number, it is 7.6 for Joe Biden. His average lead's been 8.3. He is up 7.6 coming out of this convention. Now, let's take a look here at the largest lead that Hillary Clinton got. Her best day in the summer of 2016. What did that look like? It was a 7.9 point, basically an 8-point lead for Hillary Clinton in the average of the polls. That was her high water mark in the summer of 2016. Summer of 2020, what has been Joe Biden's high water mark in the polling? Compare it to that number you saw for Clinton. Higher, double digits. Biden got it up to 10.2, over 10 points at one point. So again, bigger average lead here, significantly bigger average lead for Joe Biden. He's also gotten higher just in terms of the high water mark. Then let's take a look. That's the best Biden did in the summer of 2020. That's the best Clinton did in the summer of 2016. What is the best Trump did in all this time? Here's another difference. Take a look at this. In the summer of 2016, there were a couple days when Donald Trump got the lead in the polling. 1.1 points on average. He got the lead for a couple days. He was capable of getting that. What about the summer of 2020? What's the best Trump has done in the polling average? Not even close to the lead. 6.4 points behind. So he got ahead in the summer of 2016. So far, he's not gotten within 6 points of Biden in the polling average. So some significant differences there, Joy. And again, going into this final week here of August, Republican convention, that's the question for Trump. Biden didn't get a bounce. Can Trump get some kind of a bounce that shows he can get close to the lead in this race, that he can get this down to 2 or 3 points? Can he get some kind of a bounce? Can he bring that average down? Because, yes, Clinton basically led throughout 2016, most of the race. Biden's been leading all the way in this thing. Biden's lead's been bigger. It's gotten larger at its peak, and it's been more steady. Yeah. Big difference there.
One quick question that I have for you, Steve, because this is the question people ask me. What kind of a lead would Biden need in order to sustain a victory despite the Electoral College? Because I've heard anything from 5 to 10 million votes.
Yeah, that's the question right now. You were looking at about 2.8 million votes. That was Hillary Clinton's popular vote margin in 2016. Still lost the Electoral College. Look, it could get bigger. There's not too much agreement here on exactly how high it could go. But the way I look at it is always look at the average of polls, what Biden's lead is in that. To me, if that gets to 5 points or gets under 5 points, let's start talking about the possibility for a really extreme scenario there. If it gets under 5, if it's over 5, I think Biden, from an Electoral College standpoint, it's a lot more likely he's going to be able to put those votes together.
This is that we're going to call that the kaopectate scale. Like how much antacid are people going to need to buy an election? That's what we're going to be looking at. Steve Kornacki, thank you very much.
Evil is real. We ignore it when it seems educated, polite, superficially charming, even sophisticated. We trivialize it, ignore it, and when we do, it grows. On March 31st in the Trump White House, Trump's COVID team led by Jared Kushner decided to ignore testing in states with Democratic governors. Evil was in that room. Oh, it looked like any other bureaucratic meeting. There were PowerPoints, spreadsheets, briefings, and estimates of the dead. It was that meeting that led to Trump policies that would kill more Americans than Pearl Harbor, Vietnam, and 9/11. More Americans than World War I. It was deliberate, cold, political, premeditated. Some people say Trump and Kushner were incompetent when it came to COVID, but let's call it what it is.
It is what it is.
Evil.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Build that wall!
It was all a scam.
Breaking news of Steve Bannon being arrested.
Defrauded hundreds of thousands of donors, capitalizing on their interest in funding a border wall.
The Trump posse didn't care about the forgotten man. They didn't care about building the wall. They didn't want to drain the swamp. They just wanted power by making you angry.
Police used tear gas and flashbangs
and robbing you blind. The truth, they are criminals, and it was all a scam.
When Donald Trump's big campaign donor and new Postmaster General was caught sabotaging the U.S. mail, causing delays in tens of thousands of VA prescriptions every day, veterans called him out. DeJoy now says he'll back off until after the elections, but getting VA prescriptions on time isn't somehow less important to veterans after November 3rd, and that doesn't undo the damage he's already done. With tens of millions planning to vote by mail this fall, we need a postmaster we can trust to keep our post offices open, return the sorting machines to service, and put the damn mailboxes back where they belong. It's time for this postmaster to hear the president's favorite words.
You're fired!
It's mind-boggling. But that's all about his base. All he wants to do is appeal to his base. He has no principles. None. And his base, I mean, my God, if you're a religious person, you want to help people, not do this. Tweet and the lie. Oh my God, I'm talking too freely, but you know, the change of stories, the lack of preparation, the lying, the holy. But he's appealing to the base.
Holy bleep is right. Hi again, everyone. It's 5 o'clock in the East. Donald Trump, in the words of his sister, quote, no principles, all about the base, the tweets, the lies, holy bleep. The president's sister, Marianne Barry Trump, a former federal judge, secretly recorded by Trump's niece, Mary Trump, speaking there on tapes obtained by NBC News as first reported by the Washington Post, which adds this on the significance of the comments, quote, Barry has never spoken publicly about disagreements with the president, and her extraordinarily candid comments in the recordings mark the most critical comments known to have been made about him by one of his siblings. On the same weekend in which we learned that his own sister finds his political persona repugnant, we watched any remnant of the pre-Trump GOP go up in flames as the Republican Party platform devolves officially into whatever Trump says it is. Here's their statement, quote, whereas the RNC enthusiastically supports President Trump and continues to reject the policy positions of the Obama-Biden administration, as well as those espoused by the Democratic National Committee today, therefore be it resolved that the Republican Party has and will continue to enthusiastically support the president's America First agenda. Resolved that the 2020 Republican National Convention will adjourn without adopting a new platform until the 2024 Republican National Convention. It's what Tim Alberta describes in an opus today for Politico magazine as the grand old meltdown. Tim Alberta writing this, quote, it can now safely be said as his first term in the White House draws toward closure that Donald Trump's party is the very definition of a cult of personality. It stands for no special ideal. It possesses no organizing principle. It represents no detailed vision for governing. If it agitates the base, if it lights up on Fox News, if it serves to alienate sturdy Republican Americans from delicate coastal elites, then it's got a place in the grand old party.
I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy.
Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
And my concern is that he would grab up that power and really treat the country as sort of his little bully fiefdom.
Donald Trump is everything I taught my children not to do in kindergarten.
He's been exploiting working Americans for 40 years.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
He says he's for the little guy, but he's actually built a lot of his businesses on the backs of the little guy.
You know, Donald Trump the other day said that, it, quote, if he tells a soldier to commit a war crime, the soldier will just go do it.
And I don't think Donald Trump has even read the Constitution, knows what's in the Constitution.
A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense.
I just cannot support Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a delusional narcissist and an orange-faced windbag.
Donald Trump is a con artist.
He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
The world,
Lower than the world.
He
tries to divide us. James Mattis, Trump's Secretary of Defense.
You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other. Very fine people on both sides.
He's an idiot. John Kelly, Trump's Chief of Staff.
They weren't laughing at me.
A professional liar. Gary Cohn, Trump's economic advisor.
There will be no lies.
He thinks he's God. Barbara Rez, SVP of Trump Organization.
I am the chosen one.
Like an 11-year-old child, Steve Bannon, Trump's advisor.
I don't take responsibility.
I think we need to look harder at who we elect.
I don't think he's fit for office.
I have the most loyal people.
Can America survive 4 more years? He's a f***ing moron. 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 Rex Tillerson, Trump's Secretary of State.